Hello everybody, welcome to the studio. Today we're going to be talking about soloing on a guitar. So this is a great topic. There's so many people that I've come across over the years that have been like, I love playing the guitar. I do some chords and this and that, but I'm not much on soloing. I wish I could be, but it's not really my thing or whatever. Let me tell you, man, if it's not your thing and you want it to be your thing, it's so easy to make it your thing. So let's talk about how you can get into soloing. So the first thing, we're going to assume that you're pretty well comfortable with your guitar and that you can put some notes down and play some chords, whatever. You can get some notes happening. And so let's turn on an amp here. So the first thing we're going to talk about when it comes to throwing down a solo, and we're going to start out with some blues type solos. That's probably the easiest thing in the world to solo over is just some 12-bar blues, in E, really, preferably. And we'll use backing tracks from YouTube. It's super fun and easy. You're going to love this. And so you get a little sound coming out of the guitar, so it's really important. Let's talk right away about your sound. If you're trying to play solos and do cool stuff and your tone of your guitar is not right, you're gonna sound silly. If you're trying to play some, if you got some crazy distortion coming off your amp, you're trying to play some blues, it's gonna sound ridiculous. You need to dial that back a bit. So your application is pertinent. Another thing, if you have a crappy guitar and a crappy amp and there's just kind of no sustain coming through with the guitar, your notes don't ring out. That's going to make it really hard as well. Lucky for us these days, as I'll be using right now, there are amps you can use on your computer like aplenty. And I've got good amps. I've got a Marshall, a Bogner. These are so good. I don't plug into them unless I'm gigging. So we're practicing for a gig. And so today we're going to be using one of the THU amp models from Overloud, and this is it's like out of the Steve Vai package, and it's called Flux Drive. Just as it is how I've got it. I haven't fiddled with anything. It's got a little delay on there that's nice. I put this phaser pedal on there that you can see. And I dig it. Just gives it a little stereo spread. I like a phaser thing if you're going to talk about solo stuff. Fills things up a little bit. So we've got a little tone, and if I'm dialed back in this tone, like 3 or 4 on my volume knob, and even further, 2. You get that kind of a sound. If you start bringing that up, more gain to high gain. And so with one amp model, really you can do a lot. You can do a lot of those different things. This is a pretty high gain model for some more bluesy stuff. So I'm going to let's pull that out, and we'll go to the American Classics section. What do we want? I don't even know what's in here. Let's take a Root Rock. A Dual Showman. Great amp. So there's a little bit of drive that comes through on the end of notes. And really when you hit the attack really good. So we were talking about doing some blues, a little bit of blues soloing. And so let's start out with this guy. So we're going to assume that you don't have a hot rodded out rig and you want to make some nice pretty sounds off of just some really basic guitar and amp type thing, like pedals and stuff, just pretty basic. I've got a little delay there, so if you can get a delay on there, of course that's good. There might be a little reverb, I'm not even sure. So let's just go straight from YouTube and search. I'm cold, I should say, when it comes to this demo thing right here. in this little lesson, I don't have anything planned or prepared at all. All I can tell you is that I do this regularly. If I don't have a project going on or something, but I'm itching to play, I don't really often. I'll sit down and noodle and play by myself and sing, but I don't just like rip out and stuff. Kind of like tear. I do that with YouTube. I go to YouTube and I pull up somebody's backing track. So we're going to search for blues backing track in E. This is what you want. Look, here's one I've already listened to before, apparently. Slow blues track in E. Let's try this one out. Start it from the top. And a lot of these too, they will tell you on screen, if you look, all the notes that are kind of in play. And when you're doing solo stuff, that's kind of one of the most important things, is which notes are in play and out of play. And so a lot of these videos give you a great little map. So, isn't that nice? How easy is that? That sounds so nice. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just on the bridge pickup of this American Strat. This is a DiMarzio pickup, I should say. It's a little bit hotter than the normal Strat pickup. But so, what are we doing up here? What's the goal? Well, how do we get there? How do I make it sound good? What are those notes you're playing? Where'd you get them from? So, you can find on the internet, all of the notes that are in play for blues in E, the E kind of a scale. But I will run through them. You can hit pause and slow and stuff like that, kind of in each position as I know them and as I play them. And this is not all encompassing at all. I am not formally trained, just a guy. Okay, I can rip some crazy shreds, I guess, from time to time. Check out some of the videos on my channel, like Scattered. Put that up here. And I don't know. I think I did Cliffs at Dover one time. It's kind of silly, but here's a link to that too. So here's as I know them. So E, easy enough. Now I'll tell you one cool chord you can throw on top of that E business when you're messing around with an E jam is this. Got a whammy bar, give it a little sizzle. So you can see what I'm throwing down there. An open fifth string. So that's the E, and the notes that I usually use up in that position would be easy enough. Now, blues in E, a lot of it's rooted in that little business right there. And when I first started playing the guitar, I remember in grade school, and I was fooling around and learning these sounds. It was from like Crossroads, I think. Look up this movie if you don't know it. But there's a blues lick, man, that like all the blues players do. It goes. And so all this stuff comes from right there, and I start. All those notes are in play. That's called a hammer on and a pull off. Hammer on, pull off. Hammer the note on, pull it off. And in the open position, it's a great time to play around with tricks like that. So we'll just call that, throw that out right there. It's like a trick, guitar player trick, hammer-ons and pull-offs. Start to fool around with those if you haven't already. And that's why I said we hammer one note on and then pull it back off. Easy enough. Da-da-da. And if you're down here on the open position, that means you've got a third note that you can play just by pulling your hand off completely. And so you can fly down across the strings and look like you really know your shit if you know. You know, like stuff like that. I'm doing a little bit of picking. Probably that's might be past you if you're just a beginner. But a lot of pull-ons and pull-offs. You can totally do that. And fly through something like that. Someone's going to think you know what you're doing. You'd be like, score! So from there, you move on up. That's into A, really, and that's assuming that this progression that we're imagining here, the blues thing, is going to go from E to A and E to A to B, just like a normal blues thing does. But I should still stick it here. There's so many ways we can get from here to here and staying in the right chord. And I'm just sounding all these out. As the more you play, and granted, I'm 46 years old, and I've been doing this like all my life, so the more you play, the more you'll get a feel for, like you hear the note that's coming next, whether that's a half step or a whole step. A half step is going to be 1 fret, a whole step is going to be 2 frets. Two frets. Out of range, right? But you get the idea. So all that's good. Any of those notes work, and so what I'm using and really in play, I'll noodle around up here like I was, or down here like I was showing you before, and then I'm always going to get into this area. Right up here, around the 9th fret, is a great position to noodle around with the blues in E, 7 to 9. So that scale right there, going to be your best friend, because you got this note right here is like the blues note. You got to stretch it up 2 frets up to here. You can also add this note. Watch this. And there's a whole set of notes right there. You can wear some stuff out, man. So going on up, getting it up into the rip zone. So it's the basic pentatonic scale. If you want to fill in all the notes, you can go. And somewhere in there, and something like that, is where you're going to find everything that you need to be jamming up in there. And so with all of those notes in play, it then becomes, what do I do with them? Well, if you were going to play very easy, very slow, or not even slow, but simple stuff, not complicated stuff, not fast runs, and you want it to be good, you're going to have to inject some of yourself into it. You're going to have to find your soul, right? You got to make it, you got to make this thing sing. Imagine, what you think about music, man. Music, people attach onto songs. I didn't even know songs had lyrics until I got married, man. My wife was and is totally into lyrics with songs, more so than the music. I barely knew the lyrics were there, honest to God. So that was a big eye-opening for me, and so it's good just to remember, everybody's consumption of music is going to be a little bit different, but for a lot of folks, that kind of lyrical content is important. So if you're making, this guitar solo in the middle of a lyrical song, and you want to keep people interested that aren't necessarily interested in guitar, maybe write a good melody. Be conscientious about what you're playing. Or in the case of blues, you're not writing so much as you're just goofing off. You're just improvising. You're making stuff up as you go along. Then you want to just kind of get into yourself, get into what you're doing, and lose yourself. And really, it's almost like acting and stuff. But like you get into character, lose yourself, and you start to feel it, and you just want to sing and just make those notes sing. And you can, the more you do it, the more you feel it. And so what am I talking about? Let's put some of these things together here, and I will noodle over this for a minute, as simple as I can, and you'll see even really simple stuff can sound really pretty, as can complicated stuff. I'm going to switch to my bridge pickup. And so you should, hopefully if you've noticed, a lot of what's going into the playing is not really the notes or where I'm going with them, but it's how I'm playing the notes. It's how the notes are sustaining. There's so much character that you can be put into your fingertips. So many people say, hey, it's not really the guitar, it's the amp, or it's not the amp, it's the guitar. And it's a little bit of those things and a whole lot of these things right here, man. It's how you use your fingers and how you use your pick have so much to do with how you sound. So we'll just take, for example, this note. If I just hit it and just play it, I got that. If I add a little bit of vibrato maybe to it, getting there, that's better. And so by simply taking my finger and rolling it around like that while I'm pressing, that's going to fluctuate the pitch ever so slightly. Hear that? You can do it side to side and actually bend the string. Makes it more obvious. So it's like, I think some people call it like with bowling or like ball sports, like things that you like, whatever. Like put a little English on it, man. Like put a little flavor up in there. So that's why I say, don't just play the note, play it, feel it. It's after that pick attack happens, that's where the beauty is. And bend notes, bend stuff around, play around with that, you'll love it. Because what we're really trying to do is create a tension and a release in as many places kind of as we can. We can make an overall tension and release. That's fun too. But in doing so, that's what endears a listener to our music. It's what really creates those emotional attachments. And somebody could walk away from a blues jam and be like, man, that guy, man, he really I was digging what he was playing. I don't usually get into whatever, that's why, because these things are like that. So there's that, and that's an allergy cough. we're in COVID days right now. I know, man, it's scary, isn't it? Yep, stay inside. But I live in the woods, and we got allergies around here. I've been a little congested. So you want to make sure you put a little English on the note, right? And then your pick hand has a lot to do with things too. Don't just pick it sometimes, Pick it. Use your dynamics, Get louder, get softer. So if I smack it, that's a different sound. You hear a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan type tone. You got that going on. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Try some stuff out like that and see what you think. There's ones we'll just bounce around like some different slow blues backing tracks. Here's another one that I seem to have watched at some point before.
If you're frustrated trying to play blues guitar and sound like you know what you're doing,
this guy, you should get a lesson from him.
With endless.
You should go buy some lessons, y'all. Go buy some lessons. Check out my boy, he's killing it. See that, man? He's feeling it in his face. He's got an oh shit face right there. We don't want to listen to him all day, so point is, this is universal. Let's grab that hot rod amp before we wrap things up. All those same notes. You turn yourself on a hot rod and you got a whole other scene coming at you. Ready? I'm gonna drop a little phaser up on there. Ooh, I like that. So, that's a whole bottle of nonsense just to wrap up this little thing. So, turn on your gear, fire it up, head over to YouTube, pull up some E minor blues, and all of a sudden, you're going to be a solo god. I'm telling you, do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.